This whole thing is so entertaining to me. This whole thing about gerrymandering and redistricting, it's put this issue at the forefront of a lot of the national conversation. And now a lot more people know what gerrymandering is. But I think more importantly, people realize that the Democrats have done this for a long time. And it's just now that the Republicans are going to give them a taste of their own medicine.
Tonight, the fight to redraw the political map in Texas is escalating.
We're never giving up, and we're never bending the knee. Are you with me?
With a rally against the state's redistricting push and 4 Democrats who fled the state to stop it.
We can't do it without you. I know your hearts are with us.
Texas Democrats on the run, appearing virtually as they try to block their Republican colleagues from creating 5 new GOP congressional seats.
A few moments later.
Democrats just announced plans to end their walkout and come back to Austin. House Democrats left to deny Republicans a quorum, which has delayed any voting on redistricting. They released a statement saying they'll return to Texas on 2 conditions. The legislature ends its first special session, which is already set to happen tomorrow. And state lawmakers in California introduced a proposal to offset the 5 congressional seats Republicans would add in Texas.
And if you didn't want to fight, then goddamn it leave. Let somebody else in that position.
I think Roland Martin should run for some type of office because I guess he thinks that, or he believes that his network is probably doing the work that he could do by getting the message out and creating voices. But I think now that the network is set up, he maybe doesn't need to be the personality there. Maybe he should just move into politics and be a legislator because he has enough name recognition for where, I don't know where he lives, but wherever he lives, he should be able to win a seat. And I know he has the money. So maybe he should do that because then he could change things from the inside as opposed to shouting and looking like he's about to have a heart attack on the outside.
Because what we are talking about is a battle that's generational. What we are talking about right now, go to my iPad, the United States Supreme Court is going to reconsider the congressional district in Louisiana, and they literally are going to rule against race-based congressional districts. And I need all of y'all to understand that what is on the ballot is they could wipe out with one goddamn ruling more than 30 black congressional seats. That means right now the Congressional Black Caucus is the largest caucus in the United States Congress, and this Supreme Court could literally wipe out half of the damn Congressional Black Caucus.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about this epic meltdown, courtesy of Roly-Poly-Oly Martin, okay, who is really upset with Texas Democrats for folding to President Trump and the GOP on this battle against redistricting the state of Texas, okay? These Democrats, they ran to Illinois in protest in order to stop Republicans from moving forward with redistricting, and now they're coming back, right? Because this is stupid, right? Everybody knows this is stupid. It is not a good look for Democrats to be running away from their battles, right? I mean, it just looks weak, okay? But you have some people who think that, no, this is exactly what Democrats should be doing, right? You know, being agents of chaos. Roland Martin is one of these individuals because apparently he believes that this redistricting effort from Republicans, okay, what they're trying to do is ultimately going to end up pushing this country into Jim Crow 2.0, right? That black districts across the country are going to be wiped out.
See, this is the thing that they do to keep people voting the same way and keep people in fear. So people are always in the fear of losing their rights or, you know, not being able to exist. And it's been going on for so long and it hasn't happened. In fact, more rights have been given to people that they should just realize it's not working. And the more that they say it, the less serious they come across as. And they're not serious people because it's not about coming up with policy. So we're going to come up with this policy for this purpose, and this is how it's going to help voters. It's constantly, oh, they're going to put you back in chains. Oh, this is going to be Jim Crow. What Roland Martin does keeps him employed. So as long as there's a problem, he's got a job. But the moment things start to be normal, meaning normal as in how they actually are, then the moment people start to see and realize that actually it's not as bad as Roland Martin wants us to believe, he's going to lose viewers. But as long as he has stuff like this to complain about and reframe and misinterpret, he's going to have viewers because people love to hear and see him go off. And it's good content for me as well.
Be wiped out, okay, because of what Republicans are doing. And I find this rant to be just absolutely hilarious. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
Texas has more eligible black voters than any state in America. Texas is an unorganized state. It is a state that's not been mobilized. And what I'm saying to black people, if any black member allows them to have a quorum, you primary them and you take them out.
See, his thing is not about, so he's talking about the black vote, but he's talking about the black vote for Democrats. So he's not really saying that he wants every black person to have a voice and that voice should be heard. He's saying that we need to district these different areas in a way that the Democrats will always be in power. And don't get me wrong, I realize that both sides ultimately are just trying to get power, but he's speaking as if every black person is going to vote Democrat, but that's not the truth. So if Texas has the most black eligible voters, then that's great, because that means they can all have their vote be counted. And he should really just be talking about making sure that everybody votes, as opposed to making sure it ends up that their vote goes towards the Democrats.
But then what you do is you absolutely take out Ken Paxton or John Cornyn for United States Senate. And then what you do is you take out, in 2028,
that's right,
you take out Abbott. You spend the next 3 years mobilizing that state and telling folk, y'all still want to live underneath this here? You mobilize young women to say,
right,
do you see how many women in Texas are dying because of these anti-abortionists, literally dying because they're being denied services?
So again, he's going to go down a slippery slope. So he's saying that women are dying because they're being denied abortions. He didn't say the word, but it's abortions. So that's probably not true. However, in them not having the right to kill a child, that is saving a child. Now, I'm not having a debate here about abortion, pro-choice, whatever. You know, my stance is very clear. I don't think we should be killing babies. But when they make this argument to say that taking away the woman's right to kill the baby, because that's what they're doing, is more dangerous than them killing the baby, like, it just doesn't make any logical sense. And I believe that statistically more black babies are aborted than are actually born in the US. You can check that. I've read that somewhere. It could be wrong, but I've read that somewhere. But either way, one is too many. So the argument that, you know, black women should be up at arms because, you know, they're unable to terminate pregnancies, I'm not sure that's a strong argument.
When they have complications from pregnancy?
Again, you know, I wonder, is there any concern about all of the black children that are dying as a result of abortion, right? Do these people ever care about the fact that, you know, black people as a whole, our population is not growing due to the fact that we're aborting all of our children? You know, it's so funny. These black power people have no idea about how to actually accumulate power, right?
Exactly. Exactly. So he's saying a similar thing to what I was saying. It's like the way that we can gather power, or the way that any group can gather power, is by having more of that group. And by not having that many of that group, or making sure that, you know, these children are being terminated before they get a opportunity to breathe and to actually be able to vote, that's working against what you say your stated cause is.
Kamala Harris, okay? Definitely bought by Kamala Harris. We know that for a fact, okay? So again, the shirt is not true.
Do y'all understand that I have a niece who is due, my oldest niece, my grandparents' oldest grandchild, who is due in November? I'm fucking scared to death because these assholes, if anything happens with her pregnancy, because of these assholes, she may not get the proper care because of the laws that they have established. See, to Greg's point, to a lot of folk, the shit ain't real till it get personal. And so earlier today, I was sitting in the chat and some folks were like, man, Roland, I understand, but you want the folks to do this here and do that here, but a lot of us are comfortable. I said, well, God damn it, I ain't comfortable. I said, because I pay the taxes on a house in Dallas County that my parents live in. And when I go home, and I've got family reunions, and when I sit here, and again, 9 nieces, 4 nephews.
Is this Sunday service? Because they're, yeah. Roland, just say what you're saying.
When I look at family members who are all in Texas, God damn it, that's blood, sweat that's in that fucking soil. And when I look at people today, give up this easy. When I look at people today, and you tell me that you ran for office to stand and fight for folk, and all you could do is last for 2 weeks. And when I hear Synfronia Thompson, who's a running buddy of mama grandmother, who says, you ain't gonna look for me, I will show you the map to come to my house. Don't tell me you're gonna walk back willingly to the state capitol. Don't tell me you're gonna sit here and say, well, we're gonna go over there and we fight. No, you're not. And if you didn't want to fight, then goddamn it leave. Let somebody else in that position. Because what we are talking about is a battle that's generational. What we are talking about right now, go to my iPad, the United States Supreme Court is going to reconsider the congressional district in Louisiana, and they literally are going to rule against race-based congressional districts. And I need all of y'all to understand that what is on the ballot is they could wipe out with one goddamn ruling more than 30 black congressional seats. That means right now the Congressional Black Caucus is the largest caucus in the United States Congress, and this Supreme Court could literally wipe out half of the damn Congressional Black Caucus.
Wow. Now, let's break down what he's actually saying, okay? Because he's not saying what he's leading his audience to believe he's saying, which is that he's concerned about these so-called black districts, which, by the way, right, he's openly advocating for race-based districts. I want you guys to understand, Roland Martin, what these liberals are advocating for, they're openly saying, yeah, we want districts drawn based off race. We want to keep, quote-unquote, black districts, right? Now, if Republicans come out and say, okay, well, we want white districts, right? We want to draw districts in ways that beneficial to white people. Do you think these people will be okay with that? Right? We want to preserve white power in Congress, right? Do you think that Roland Martin or any of these black liberals, any of these liberals, really, do you think these people would be okay with that? No. But for whatever reason, it's totally fine. It's totally okay to openly advocate for race-based districting in order to preserve race-based power.
Exactly, because the point is, it's not that they're saying that people are going to lose their vote. They're saying that people, the proportion of representation will go down, in the sense that even though you'll have the same amount of black people voting, because they're not going to be voting in these districts to get the representation, that they're going to lose power. But that means that by virtue of that, you need to create districts that are race-based districts. So as Greg is saying here, it undermines the whole argument, right? Because what you're essentially saying is it's okay for it to be a race-based district if it then means that it's going to give black people more voting power, which we should all be having the same amount of power in our vote. So when we vote, and we should vote strategically, our vote should have the same impact. Now, if you want to be someone like Roland Martin and be an advocate and then get more people to vote in line with what you believe to be true, that's great. That's noble. But when you go into that voting booth, it doesn't matter if you're a famous person or just a regular everyday person. your vote is just one vote. Now, you can use your power and your influence and all of your organizational skills to get more people to vote that way. But the idea of race-based voting blocks is unconstitutional.
Fascinating, right? Absolutely fascinating. But see, here's the kicker. This is not really about race, right? This is about Democrat power and control, right? It's not about, oh, they're going to lose all these black districts. These districts are Democrats, right? They're all Democrats. He's not concerned about any black Republican that could potentially lose their seat. He's not concerned about that. In fact, he would cheer that on. He'd be totally fine with that. Because again, it's not really about race. It's about Democrats, okay? What he's concerned about is that Democrats are going to be losing their seats. The black thing is what they use to get the low IQ people to get on board with. Oh, they're attacking blacks. No. They're attacking Democrats, right? That's what they really have a problem with, right? So again, I wonder what is the end game, right? Like, what end game does Roland want these Democrats do? They're not going to be able to stop what's happening, right? They can sit out indefinitely, right? They can try, but it's gonna cost them more politically than what they're gonna gain from it. They're not gonna gain anything from it. They don't have a leg to stand on. So this is why they're now saying, well, we're requiring for California to move forward with redistricting, right? They're going to basically say, hey, we want the California Democrats to do the dirty work because we're too afraid, because that's a part of the quote-unquote agreement, right, for them to come back, for them to allow it to happen, is, well, California needs to move forward with gerrymandering their state. So that's what they're doing. I mean, they know they're powerless. They're helpless. So, again, this is why, again, they're deferring to other Democrats, right, in order to try to get the job done. But there was no scenario in which they were going to stop the Republicans from moving forward with this. It just wasn't going to happen.
So don't tell me you're being too emotional. Don't tell me it doesn't matter. Right now, they're looking to wipe out Congressman Cleaver in Missouri.
Right?
They're looking to wipe out Congresswoman Sykes in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
They've already wiped out a black seat in Florida.
Facts.
I've told y'all repeatedly that they want to defund black America. They want to take everything economically, everything politically, academics, business. They want Jim Crow 2.0 to return. And what you had better understand is read a goddamn history book.
You know what's so hilarious about this, bruh? You know what's so funny about this? None of this stuff is true, by the way, right? This is all an exaggeration. But these people really think black people got so much that the white man is obsessed with just taking everything that black people got. Taking everything that black people got. White people so obsessed. They want everything that black people got. Like, they try to act like black people got so much. At the same time, they'll tell you, black people don't got nothing in this country, right? They'll say that. And then they'll tell you, well, the white man, they want to take everything that black people got. Well, black people don't got nothing, right? Then why do you think that the white man is obsessed with taking something that you don't have, right? What do you have so much of that the white man wants? That's what I'm trying to figure out. What?
And then the other part of it is, to what end? Like, if you let the logic play itself through. So in their mind, it's racist people that don't want immigration. So they don't want the people coming across the border. In their mind, the people that are coming across the border, and this is their words, not mine, the people coming across the border are the ones that are going to wipe our behinds, and the ones that pick the crops, and the ones that do all the work that American people don't want to do. This is their words, not mine. So what they're saying is, in one hand, people don't want these people coming across the border for free or cheap labor. But then they're going to also turn back the hands of time to bring us to an era where the people that they were enslaving, and I say enslaving in the sense that I'm not talking about when formal slavery was around. I'm not talking about that. But black people. So they want to then take everything from black people. For what purpose? Because if the whole idea was to be able to have free or cheap labor, then they would just get free or cheap labor from the people coming across the border. So it doesn't make any sense, but it's just this way of just scaring people into always feeling like someone's coming to attack them, and it's always the same group of people coming to attack them. And then what makes it even worse, when there are provisions being put in place, like in DC, to try to make places safer and to make it easier for you to be able to walk down the street, that's called racist as well. Do you see how this works? Everything is going to always, always, always be one of three things. It's going to be racist, it's going to be sexist, or it's going to be homophobic. It just doesn't make sense. And this is how, people in that space of Roland Martin, this is how they make their money. This is how they keep their power, by constantly telling people that, you need to keep watching my show because I'm going to tell you all of the nefarious things that are being done to take your rights and to take your power. But meantime, in most of these neighborhoods that he's talking about, the biggest threat is crime. That's the biggest threat to a lot of these people. This is why a lot of those stores in those neighborhoods end up closing down, because they keep getting robbed. So all of the big box stores, all of the big chains are pulling out of these neighborhoods because they're like, you know what, we just keep getting robbed. And then when the stores pull out, they say that there's a food desert, or they always have an excuse. I was watching another video and they were talking about the fact that anyone that voted for Trump 3 times should be forbidden from going and eating Mexican food or doing various things because they're clearly racist if they've voted for Trump 3 times. It's just, their argument makes no sense. It all is about fear, that people can be fearful, that they can have more power. And it's just something we need to see, and we need to think through it. And we just need to take things to their natural conclusion based on what's being laid out by these people trying to keep people in fear.
Political power. Let's be real. What political power do black people have that Republicans should be worried about? Because Republicans are not dependent on black voters to win. That's not how they win elections. Now, Democrats are dependent on black voters, right? They're dependent on that, right? And if black voters don't show up, then yeah, Democrats lose. Republicans are not dependent on black people like that, right? Democrats are dependent on black people, so there's a difference. But again, what you have here is it's roly-poly trying to do what the Democrats pay him to do, right? Which is to rally up everybody on the plantation and to get them to try to start attacking Republicans and going after Republicans because Democrats, their power and control is being threatened. Okay, and Roland's job is to frame this as an attack on black folks, even though it's not an attack on black people. Okay, it's not an attack on black folks. Okay, it's an attack on the Democrats. but you got to frame it as an attack on black people. Oh, they're bringing back Jim Crow 2.0. They want to take away everything from us, everything that we have. Right? They're taking it away. They're attacking us. It's like no. This is about going after Democrats. That's what it's really about. So, at the end of the day, it's just so funny to me. There are people who will fall for this nonsense.
Because this is exactly what happened after the 1875 decision. This is exactly what happened after Plessy versus Ferguson, when they wiped out black representation in Congress. Go read the speech of that last black Republican who was from North Carolina. The reason the Congressional Black Caucus Phoenix Awards is called that because he said to them, you may wipe us out now, but we're going to rise like a phoenix. Every single one of y'all watching, y'all want to understand why I'm trying to tell y'all, stop sitting here debating this bullshit, LeBron and MJ, and we talk about dance and everything. These white nationalists literally are trying to wipe out every black advancement that we have seen, not since the Civil Rights Movement, but since Reconstruction.
All right. He does have a good point there, and I'm going to give him credit for that point. We need to spend less time consuming and more time creating. So we need to spend less time sitting around, being entertained, talking about these celebrities and memorizing their songs. And we need to invest more of that energy into educating ourselves about the things that are going to move us forward, about AI, about politics, about just the various things in society. Now, that's not to say you don't you shouldn't have some time of entertainment, or you shouldn't enjoy a good basketball game or whatever. But I do find, especially the younger generation, they don't understand a lot of the things that they need to know in order to equip themselves for the future. But if you ask them about somebody's stats and what college someone was drafted from and what draft pick they were and how many points they scored in a season, they can tell you all of that. So I think Roland has a really good point about where we spend our energy and how we utilize our time to make sure that we are constantly educated. But in his view, if you do that, and out of that research and education and looking into things, you end up having a conservative worldview, then he's going to hate you anyway. So, yes, I agree with what you're saying. And I agree with the fact that Roland is saying that we should spend less time being entertained. But I imagine that if people really investigate, not to say that they're going to end up being Republicans, and they probably won't end up being Democrats, they'll end up being independents, because that will allow them to vote based on policies that are better for them, better for their family. And neither party is going to be a 100% fit all of the time, which is why you have to vote more strategically and think about and make sure that there's a level of balance, as opposed to one party having all the power, because they're both just as bad as each other. So no matter who is in power, they're going to take that power, want to hold on to the power. And if they don't have a good level of opposition, they're going to just run roughshod. So anyway, that's it for me. And I appreciate you watching. And as I always say, look, I'm just a guy with a Wi-Fi connection and a camera. I don't get it all right. I do this unscripted. And the reason why I do it unscripted is because then you can get a genuine reaction. It also means that sometimes I get things wrong, but that's okay. That's what the comments are there for. So if you have caught me in something that I said wrong, like the other day I was saying electoral college instead of electoral college, and someone shouted me out for that. Yeah. Happy to respond to your comments. This is a really small channel, so I appreciate all your subscriptions, and I appreciate all of your shares and your likes and your feedback and your encouragement and your comments. And even if you come at me sideways, even if you bring some smoke, it's all good. I appreciate you watching. So make sure you like, subscribe, and make sure you look into the topics and think critically. Don't just always think that it's what the person that is saying is. It's sometimes not what they're saying, and sometimes they're